meetings every month, and we try to address different topics that are going to be of interest to our residents. Obviously, this month is on what's going on at the Living and Learning Enrichment Center. Our next 2 months we're going to have somebody from the Plymouth Canton Literacy Council here talking about the fact that they need new tutors and what we can do for people who English is their second language. So we welcome you to attend that one as well. And then our Lunch and Learn in June is on firearm safety. Both of those will also be in this room. But we ask that if anybody has a topic that they'd like us to address, let us know. If you are a great speaker on that topic, we'd love to have you here. If you want us to find a speaker and it's just something you're interested in, we will do our best to do that as well. So I'm going to pass it over now to my board vice president, Dave Hammond, and he will make the introductions.
Thanks, Beth. And I just want to reiterate what Beth said. This is a new series. We've been doing this about a year, and we're doing it because the community has come to us with ideas, interesting people doing interesting things in the community. So if you have an idea, please come to us. We'd love to hear about it. This series works because of participation from people like you letting us know what's going on. So I want to just second what Beth said. So we've got 3 panelists today to talk about what's going on at LLEC. Our first one, I'll give a brief introduction, and then the way this will work is we'll take about half the time, a little over half the time, for their presentation, and then we want to give plenty of time for questions and comments. So what we'll do is I'll either walk around with a mic or come around, have you come up and speak. We've got several people on Zoom today, so if you just ask your question from your seat, they might not hear it. So I'll either come around with the mic or have you come up here during the second part. So without further ado, let's get started. So we've got 3 speakers today. Our first one is Rochelle Vartanian. She's the founder and executive director of the Living and Learning Enrichment Center. Our second speaker is going to be Ethan Erlinson. He oversees LLEC's job development program, which helps adults with disabilities find employment in the community. And our third speaker is going to be David Franco, and he oversees the Exceptional Academy, which is an advanced work skills training program for adults with disabilities. And they currently provide Cisco IT network certification training with a focus in cybersecurity, and they are based at LLEC. So without further ado, we want to welcome our speakers. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me. My name is Rochelle Vartanian, and I am the founder of Living and Learning Enrichment Center. It's so wonderful being here today because I'm seeing some people I haven't seen in years, so thank you for having me. I'm going to just tell you a little bit about how Living and Learning started and why it started, and then I'm going to pass it to Ethan, and he'll get more descriptive of what's going on with our programming, and then he'll introduce David, who will talk specifically about our IT Academy. So, like many of you, I have a son, a child with autism. But how this started was before he was even born, I was working with kids with severe behavioral issues. So I had gone to school for this. I went to Eastern Michigan and got a degree in teaching for the emotionally impaired. And that was my passion. Right out of college, I worked at a lockup center, and I did that for 10 years. And this is where I thought I was going. I went back and got a master's in ed psych. My passion was working with women prisoners and helping them reunite with their kids and having it be a successful reunion. But God had a different plan for me. My youngest son, Anthony, was diagnosed with what they then called Asperger's syndrome, and now everything's autism. But I still say that because he feels that it describes him better than just saying autism. But it was how it works, and I'm very faithful. And it's funny when I look back at things and think, okay, now I understand why this happened the way it did. Because when he was first diagnosed, I'm just going to be very honest, I was heartbroken. He's 22 now, so things were a lot different. But what I knew was that when people got done with school, there was nothing out there. And the parents would tell me, it's like we fell off a cliff. And because I knew this, I thought, oh my gosh, this is his future, this is his life, and there's nothing out there. It was almost the perfect storm. And right the year he was diagnosed, I switched and I transferred to North Farmington High School. I still worked with the same population of kids, but obviously they weren't in a lockup. But they were the most severe. So if they couldn't make it in my classroom, they would go to a day treatment. Some of them still are in jail today, hospitals. So it was still the same type of thing, but it was in the high school. And they didn't know at the time what to do with our kids with high-functioning autism or Asperger's syndrome, so they were putting them in my classroom. So my son at this point's about 3. He was just diagnosed, and I was getting a divorce. So like I said, it was the perfect storm. And I just kept watching this thinking, this is so inappropriate for them to be putting these kids in my room. A lot of our kids are walking targets to be bullied, and now they're in a classroom with kids that have severe behavior issues. And again, that kind of added to my, oh my God, what am I going to do? And this is his future, and he will never be able to survive this. So I decided, okay, I'm going to go back to school. I'm going to go get a master's degree in autism so I can understand it and try to help navigate this system for him. So I'm working full-time, I've got these boys, and I'm just plucking away at these classes. Typically, a master's program, if you're going full-time, takes 2 years. It probably took me about 4 because I was, just doing a little bit here, a little bit there. But when I got done with it, I thought, I'm going to run a social skill group. Now, if you have someone in your life that has autism or a special need, you probably know what that is. But if you don't, our people that have autism, a lot of them miss those cues, those things that we never had to be taught, right? Eye contact, or to wrap it up, or you don't just go into it with what you're thinking. You kind of start a conversation, you end a conversation, things that no one taught us. We just, through osmosis, know how to do that. The other thing that was going on was that, I'm sure a lot of you can relate to this, that right around 3rd grade, people start separating themselves from our kids. And those friends that they had in the beginning, not mean, but just, they have less in common with our kids, so they start moving on. When they say the spectrum, it really is a spectrum, because you've got your people, if this is a line, you've got your people all the way here that have degrees, master's degrees, but they still need some help. And then you've got all the way here to our people that need one-on-one support, maybe even going to the bathroom. So it really is vast, and trying to focus in on who you're going to help when there's so many areas that need help. And a lot of them, I really don't think it's appropriate to mix them, a lot of them, right? So in my head, I was thinking when I started this group, I'm going to help them become friends with each other and go to each other's birthday parties and get invited to places and form this little friendship group, and I'll be embedding social skills in it. So I did this. I did this for almost 2 years. Every Sunday, I rented a room out of the Farmington Public Library. And I didn't charge families. I just thought, we're going to do social skills, 1 o'clock every Sunday at the library. And it worked. And people started coming. And as I said, I did it for almost 2 years. But the entire time in my head, I just kept thinking, what's going to happen? This helps this little piece of this problem, but what is going to happen? And full disclosure, and I'm sure a lot of you are living this life too, it's that constant thought in your head of what's going to happen when I die, right? And there's no answer to that. And like I said, I had just gone through a divorce, so there was that piece of it. But the other piece of it was, for me personally, is I didn't have a lot of family support. For whatever reason, my family was very uncomfortable with this and just kind of started slowly separating themselves from us. So I knew if something happened to me, they weren't going to come in here and go, we got this. So that was weighing on me too. So again, the entire time, my whole reason for doing this is for what happens when I die, this ending part, to make sure that he's somewhere and is secure. I didn't know how to get there, so I started with the social skill groups, and then I thought, as I said earlier, I could just keep doing this. Things are working. I'm at top of my pay scale. I have 2 master's degrees. I have a beautiful home. I had a great 401 and great benefits. But I also knew every parent had told me that when you get done with school, there's nothing out there. So what I decided to do was take a huge leap of faith, and I quit my job. And at that point, I had been teaching for 20 years. And when you're at that point, you don't quit. I mean, your job is solid, you're going to get incremental raises, and you don't quit. But I thought to myself, if I don't do something drastic, nothing's going to change for this person. So I quit my job, and then I had no money. So, how do you operate a business without money and pay for your bills, the bills that you already have? So I made a decision to sell my home. And I had a beautiful home that my ex-husband and I had built. It was in Livonia. I will never live in a home this nice again. But with the money from selling my home, it allowed me to open living and learning and keep my kids in the schools they were in. They both went to private school, and just move forward. So again, my whole thing is this independent living, whatever that looks like, but I didn't know how to get there. So what I started with was something called Friday Night Hangout. I thought, I'm going to create something where every Friday people can come here. And it's not just once a month or, hey, once a year we've got this hangout. I want it to be every single Friday so that they have somewhere to go and that they're proud of it. And I'm going to the hangout tonight. And I didn't want it to be in the basement of a YMCA or in the library that I'd been working at. I wanted it to be somewhere beautiful and something that they felt so proud to go to. So I had all this great furniture from the house I sold, so I decorated it very nice, and I painted it beautifully, and it smelled great, and and I opened the doors. On October of 2015 was our first hangout. And it started with just 4 people. My son was one of them. And it's still one of our biggest programs today. We play games and watch movies and sing and dance and, eat pizza. And because we were right downtown Northville, we could go to anything that was going on there. And it just was this beautiful program. And I slowly started a Saturday night program then. And then I started looking at all my people and finding out what their special interests were and creating programs based on that. At one time, we had a bird watching club. We have a Dungeons and Dragons club. We have a Comic-Con club, just based on these special interests. But again, even though we were doing really well with this piece, and I felt really good about it, my mind kept going to that same thing. What happens when I die? So I started looking at everyone, and I started thinking, none of them are working. And whatever that looks like for that one person, wherever they are in the spectrum, some need more help than others, I needed to create something for that. So at the time, I think I had a couple of volunteer people, but I know I still wasn't getting paid. So I had to create a program based on that with those limited resources. So what I did is myself, I went to different businesses, Mayberry Park, Mayberry Farm, I should say, a couple nursing homes, and Fresh Time, I remember they were one of them, and I brought my people there and we would do job skills, and this is how we got this going. And that started growing, where I was finally at the point where I had to hire someone else. Now, I still couldn't pay for this person, so out of my own paycheck, I'm every 2 weeks giving this person a paycheck. So when I look back at this, I just think, oh my gosh, if I had a business person in my life at that time, I would have ran this so differently. But that's how I did it. And our people were getting jobs. And what I noticed was that they were not only getting jobs, but they were happy. Some of these people, I would talk to them and their parents would say, they have not been doing anything for 5 years. There's nothing out there. And now they've got this job to look forward to. So again, this was working and it was beautiful. We got to the point where we outgrew our facility and we had to move to another facility, a bigger facility. And so we moved right down the street to a historic home, 315 Griswold Street. And this amazing problem happened where all of a sudden the world knew about us and people were coming from everywhere, Taylor and downriver and Ypsilanti. And the problem that it created, though, was that within 4 months, we had to move again. We had outgrown this facility. So God works in mysterious ways. And like I said before, I didn't see then what the future was going to be and how this all would play out and why it had happened the way it did. But we were having a meeting, and I was expressing the need of a bigger facility. And someone in the meeting made a joke and said, well, the Don Massey Cadillac estate is for sale. So if you're from Northville, there's a beautiful, beautiful piece of property right at the end of Northville. I mean, Griswold runs right into it, and right behind it is 8 Mile Road. That's the picture of it. And it's on 12 acres, and there's 2 acres across the street, and there's 6 buildings there. And it had been for sale at that point, I want to say, for 2 years. And what they were trying to do is sell it to a contractor that would tear down all the buildings and they would build condos there. So when I came in, and I said, this is what I wanted to do, and I wouldn't tear down any building, the city was really happy, so they really worked with me on this. But that first day when we made an appointment to go there and I walked that property, for some reason, I saw the apartments across the street, and I had drove by these apartments a million times. But for whatever reason, standing where I was on that porch, looking across the street, it just all came together where I thought, this is how we're doing it. We're going to help people live in those apartments, and then we're going to be home base, and all the programs will be here, and they can walk to everything, because transportation is a huge issue. So now the problem was, how do you get this place? So as we walked out that day, I told the 2 people that were with me, David was one of them, that I'm in. I'm going to do whatever I have to do to get this property. So what I did is what I'm doing right now. I just went to anyone that would listen to me talk, and I just told my story. And I went to churches and Kiwanis clubs and Rotary clubs and Lions clubs and anyone that would listen. And we were in a couple little local magazines and a couple little newspapers, and someone saw me, and this was about a year later now, and said he wanted to meet me. So I went and met him, and it wasn't this love connection immediately, but he listened to me. And what I did from that point on is I just would text him and email him and just call him and tell him this is what's going on and this is what I'm doing now. And about a year after that first meeting, I asked him, would you please walk that property with me? And he agreed to do it. And as we were walking the property, I was explaining to him across the street, my people will live there, and I was explaining why it was so important, the transportation piece, and that area was pretty safe, and the downtown, there's so many things that they could be doing there. And as we were walking, I was explaining that one day I'm gonna have an alpaca farm here, and explaining why it was jobs for my people, and chickens, and lavender, and just explaining everything and why. And we got halfway done with that tour, and he said, this has to happen. I'm going to give you $500,000. I know, and just thinking about it, it's just, what a miracle. The other piece of it was he had no one in his life with special needs. He was a business person, and he said, I know that you're the person to make this happen, that you have given up so much that you're not going to stop till this happens, and this is why I'm going to invest in you. Now, I still had to raise another $800,000, but it was a little bit easier because now I went out there and told people, I have this person and he believes in me and he's going to give us $500,000 to do this. So I still had to go out there and raise it, and we did. And we got the keys for our property in January 2020. And then you know what happened in March? COVID. And I was again, oh my God, what am I going to do? How am I going to do this? But I also felt like there's no way God would have brought me this far and now it's not going to work. And I just kept doing the same thing. I kept bringing organizations out to see what I'm doing. I can't tell you how many organizations I brought out and explaining everything. And now this is mine. And so I felt like it would be easier for people to want to, partner with me. But an organization, a nonprofit called Community Opportunity Center, and a lot of people refer to them as COC. They came out, and all they do is housing. I want to say they own 18 homes, and it's for people that when you're talking about the spectrum, I would say from here down, live in these homes. And I went to go visit the homes, and I loved the executive director and what she stood for, her integrity, and how hard she worked, and she really got it. And she loved what I was doing. So in my head, I'm thinking, this is a perfect partnership. This is the end piece. This is what I've been fighting for. So as I'm talking to her and explaining how I can help their organization, she started introducing me to the board members. And it took a while, but long story short, they partnered with us and they paid our mortgage off. So during COVID, they paid my $2 million mortgage off. So we don't own anything on this property. And the other great thing about this merger is that we're now doing things for people that are senior citizens that have special needs, which I never even thought about that piece. But a lot of their residents are senior citizens, so now we have that piece going. So the first location I was at, and I think David showed a picture of it, it was, as I said, this little storefront. And in my head, I'd always thought, one day we need to have it become a job site where it's the second picture, where it's a artisan market, and I could envision everything, and I took people on field trips to different markets that I'm thinking about this, and it's a little bit of this, just so that they could understand where my mind was going on this. But today, that little storefront is an artisan market, and 50%, I want to say, 45% of the art's made by people that have a special need. And they get the same percentage as any artist whose work sells there. We also do a lot of job coaching there. We've employed several people that are on the spectrum there. And it's just this, it makes me so happy every time I walk in there. One of the reasons it makes me so happy is because, as I said earlier, I just did not want a place where I was in the basement of some library or something. And being a special ed teacher, I was always in the back of the building. No one wants these books. You guys can have those. And I don't know where that mindset came from, but I was trying to break it. And so when you go in there today, it's the most beautiful market. It's somewhere that anyone would feel proud to work, and that's what I wanted. The second location I was at, the historic house, I think we were there maybe a year. We turned it into a place where we do all of our ABA therapy. And so that's what goes on there, and that's the third picture of the historic house. It's just this adorable house, and it's right on the water. It was God, I mean, that this happened. And then our estate, the mansion that we're in, like I said, there's 6 buildings in there, and we have 30 programs, and programs like, as I said earlier, Dungeons and Dragons and cooking, and Friday and Saturday Hangouts still our biggest program. Girls Talks, Writers Clubs. So we've got all those programs. And then we have a vocational program there, which is now our very biggest program, and Ethan will talk about that. And then we had a God moment where I was giving a presentation just like this at a church. And as I walked out, this wonderful man came up to me and said, "Rochelle, I used to be an executive at a place called Cisco Networking." Now, that's not my wheelhouse, so I had no idea what this was. But he said to me, "We have a curriculum there. We have a program there. It's really aggressive. But at the end of 6 months, people are getting degrees, or certificates, I should say, in cybersecurity. And there's jobs for this. And there's not only jobs for this, but they pay well. And there's a lot of jobs out there." So we worked with him for, I want to say, almost a year, pulling that curriculum apart and making it 9 months and finding a place to have this program be taught out of. In the end, I rented a room from Madonna University, and I put 2 amazing teachers in there. And today we're on our 4th cohort, and it's ran out of Ford Motor Company in their Dearborn offices. And last graduating class, every single one of them have jobs except for one person right now. And they're jobs at places like Ford Motor Company, Plant Moran, Cooper Standard, and no one's making less than $60,000 a year. So this was life-changing. And as I said, this spectrum, I'm trying to help every one of them, in their own group. So this definitely helps this group. But the best thing, before I turn it over to Ethan, the very best thing that happened was that I have 4 people living in those apartments across the street. And it's been amazing. And my son's one of them. So my dream now, and I know this is going to sound crazy, but this is how this started, is I want to buy those apartments. I'm there twice a day, picking up my son, taking him to work, taking him back, and my mind the whole time is picturing this cul-de-sac here will be for people that need more support. This will be for people that need less support. There's a food truck that comes there twice a week. There's a little bowling alley there, a pool, a workout center, tennis courts. And my son and the people that are living there, the 4 people that we have, are doing what I had pictured. They're walking downtown. They're going to the coffee stores. They're walking to the dentist. My son became a mason, which he never joined anything when he was in high school. So it's just the most beautiful thing. So I'm going to turn it over to Ethan, but I want you to, in your head, just keep thinking about that, what that would be like. And how this happened was people introducing me to people. So if ever you meet someone that you feel like they could help us do this, please reach out to me, because I'm all about going to that next step and making this happen for our people. So thank you.
Thank you, Rochelle. Thank you, everybody, for being here today. I'm super excited to tell you guys a little bit about our vocational services at Living and Learning. Our vocational services is promoting neurodiversity in the workplace. And this is a very, very, very important aspect of living your life independently. With our goals of helping everybody reach their potential and their capabilities, having employment and having a work skill set is a very important piece of that. It's also something that everybody wants. Everybody wants to have a job one day. Not only do we all want a job, everybody needs a job. All of our members that we work with, they need jobs in order to reach their goals, in order to live their lives to their full potential. So our vocational services is an amazing program that has been grown so fast over the past couple of years and is only going to continue to grow with all of the amazing work that it's been done. So I'm going to start with kind of talking about what sort of opportunities are out there and what sort of opportunities a lot of people don't know about. One thing is so many people are unaware of the job opportunities that are out there for people with disabilities. And this is a part where when we meet people, they're unaware of the types of jobs that they can hold. Not only are they unaware, sometimes their families are unaware of the types of jobs that are out there for them. And companies aren't aware of the skill sets and roles that our members can fill for their companies. It's very, very important to include everybody in society and give everybody a chance to use their skill sets to help companies improve. And so something that we always touch base on is everybody needs assistance. So as Rochelle mentioned, we have the spectrum. We have from here all the way to here. Some people have these degrees and these skill sets to hold full-time jobs, and other people are more looking for part-time employment. No matter what, everybody needs assistance. There's assistance that's needed for people all the way up there working for those IT companies. They have the skill sets to hold these jobs, but maybe it's the soft skill development that needs a little bit of improvement. That's where we can come in and we can help be the liaison between the employee and the employer. Companies are interested in working with people with neurodiversity. They're interested in this. Some of them may not know they're interested in this, so we go out and educate and create interest. But what a lot of employers struggle with is the unknown challenges that are going to come with hiring somebody on the spectrum. They might be unaware of how to support this person or how to be patient or understand this person, or just unaware of what their skill sets are and what their capabilities are. So what's really cool is our vocational program has grown so fast, and we have partnered with so many companies that we're able to work with employers to educate the world and show the opportunities that are out there. So I'll talk a little bit about our vocational program first. This program is our largest program at Living and Learning. Just a few years ago, it started with less than 5 members. Now, we have over 120 members that come to this program with a wait list of 82. And this is because of the success of the program and the opportunities that are out there. We've partnered with over 70 different companies, and these are all sorts of different types of work. We have hotels, we have grocery stores, restaurants, golf courses, nursing homes and children's centers. We make soap and sell it in our mod market. We do product making. So many different jobs where we can use our skills, learn different skills, and experience different environments, working alongside different people. It's mutually beneficial for everybody. It's beneficial for the members that are going to these job sites. It's beneficial for the companies that are having our members come work for them. And it's beneficial for the world and society to see our people being included and showing their skill sets and capabilities. These are trainees that are coming into these job sites and working on their job skills and their job stamina to eventually one day hold employment. Everybody has different needs, and some people are on Social Security, so they might not be looking for employment. So this is a program where they still have that purpose and make a difference to society and have a job where they can go and work day in and day out. Other people use this program to build the skills to transition to find employment. But we also have people that need more support. And these are people that might need more one-on-one support or one-to-two support. They're working on the same skills and the same stamina, but maybe we're just not quite there. So we have a hybrid program, which is our Vocational Plus program. This is for people that need more support, so we can include everybody. This program is ran half of the day on our campus. We have an awesome house right beside our large house that is our Voc Plus house. There, they're able to work on life skills. They have laundry there, cooking, and things of that nature. And then the other half of the day, they go out into the community and work at these companies that we are partnered with. Their stamina might not be there to work a full day yet, but that's what we're working towards, eventually transition into our vocational program. And once our members have learned and displayed the appropriate skills to hold employment, they can then transition even into our job development program. Our job development program is our program for getting people permanent employment. So these are for our members that have gone through our programming. Some of them might not even go through our vocational programming. Some of them already have these skill sets, and they're coming to us now to have that assistance in the pre-employment process of finding a job. So our job development program works on job readiness trainings, job placements, and we provide job coaching as well. The job readiness trainings include the entire pre-employment process from start to end. This will entail resume building and cover letter writing. If you already have a resume, maybe we do edits and updates. And then we begin our job exploration. We meet with each of our individuals and really pick apart what do they want to do? What's their dream job? What's their goal? And then also, what is their skill set and what is going to be a good fit for them? And what we do is we go out and we meet with employers and managers and companies and educate them on the types of work that our people can do. A lot of times, employers, and I'll get to this when I'm talking about our success stories, actually, but if you look at the picture here, Emily, she's working at the Psychiatry and Psychology Center, and I have her picture up there because I think that this is such an amazing story that when we were getting her the job there, it was a little bit of, okay, you know, maybe we could have her help here or maybe here. And in my mind, I'm like, no, you got to see her skill set, right? So we get her in there. She got hired part-time to do file clerking. She's got very attention to detail. After just a month, she is a filing machine there, and they reached out and they now want her to work full-time. But what this shows is that this isn't just a job for her to fulfill her needs. She is fulfilling that company's role there, and they are seeing the difference that she's making for them, and they want her there every single day because it's improving the work that they do. Interview prep. That's the next, after application training. We do application trainings. We teach our members what type of information they'll need for applications. We assist them with applications, and then we begin interview prep. And interview prep is important on both sides. There's no right and wrong way to do an interview, but we do prep our members on what types of questions might be common, what types of answers might be common. But it's also very, very important for us to go and prep the employers on the interviews as well, because we want to bring our members into these interviews and accommodate to them so they can really express themselves and show their skill set. Giving them the opportunity to sit down in an interview and speak with them might not be your typical interview that you're going through, but that education that was going before to really open up the employer's mindset is part of the process of placement. Once we place our members, we can provide them with job coaching. As we mentioned, it's very important that every single person gets the assistance that they need. So the job coaching is to ensure that they are maintaining employment and finding success within their role. We also have community-based assessments, which are trial work experiences. These are times for members to come in, go out to our job sites that we're partnered with. They can spend a few days at a couple of different job sites and learn what skills they're best at, what jobs do they prefer most, so afterwards we can help them find the most fitting placement. And then I just wanted to talk a little bit about the other two pictures there. Christian, he's working at Dogtopia in Northville. Christian started there back in January, And just last month in March, he was named Employee of the Month. So that was a very good success story on Christian. And then also with Josh there in the middle, this is a cool story because Josh, he has experience. He's had jobs before, but he just finished his degree. He has a major in history, and he has a goal of using that degree and working somewhere in an environment where history is around. So he actually just started his job at the Henry Ford Museum in Dearborn. He'll be working at Lammy's Diner to start, but this is an opportunity for him to get into this company, and we are going to help him along his career to grow within the company and use his degree and live his dream job that he always wanted to have. And then, we also have even higher training programs. We have a more advanced training program, which is called the Exceptional Academy. And I'm now going to introduce David Franco, the director of the Exceptional Academy.
Thank you, Ethan. My name is David Franco, and I am the director of the Exceptional Academy. And I just want to thank you all for allowing us this opportunity to present to you today. So the Exceptional Academy was born because Rochelle has some pretty lofty goals. I mean, one of our mission for the Living and Learning Enrichment Center is to be the nation's model for providing quality services for people with disabilities. And so in keeping with that, and also in line with this culture that she's created at Living and Learning, in which we just refuse to accept the status quo, and we're constantly pushing the boundaries of the quality of services that are available, we decided to start the Exceptional Academy. And we did this because for people on the far end of the spectrum that are much more capable than what people had traditionally given them credit for, we decided that we wanted to challenge them further than they've ever been challenged before. And so the Exceptional Academy has become the most advanced work skills training program designed specifically for adults with disabilities, not just in the state of Michigan, but in all surrounding states. We are the most challenging program. This is the most challenging program in the region. And we're getting adults with disabilities certified in IT networking and cybersecurity. And as Rochelle had mentioned, they're getting jobs at companies like Comerica Bank in their network security operations team or on their cyber fraud operations team. They're getting job at Ford as network analysts. They're getting jobs with Plant Moran and other IT companies. Just a quick story from one of my parents from last year. He was just really concerned. He was calling me about once a month about his son. Now, his son is a graduate. He's got a degree in computer science. He's gotten IT jobs, a couple of them actually, but they're with companies that just weren't used to working with people with disabilities. And so while he was able to get a job, he wasn't able to keep the job. And it wasn't because of him, it was because they just didn't understand how to work with him. And that's really common with this population. And so he was worried because, he was like, what am I going to do? Even if he goes through your program, how is he going to be able to keep a job? And so every month we were having these conversations. How's he doing? How's he doing? Is he be able to get a job? I can't provide assurances that people are going to get a job that come through the program. But all I can do is encourage them because, especially with his son was one of the best students in the class. He was actually even our teacher's assistant. And so we get through the year, and I find out from the father, one of the reasons why he had been calling me all the time is because when his son was younger, the school system had told him that he wasn't going to be able to amount to anything. And so obviously this father was very, very worried, especially after his son had defeated, the odds and gotten this degree and gotten these jobs. He wasn't able to keep them, and so he was concerned. Maybe they were right. It's not going to work out. So we got him through the academy. He got his certification, and he is one of the people that is now working at Ford Motor Company. So those are the types of things that we're trying to do for these people on the spectrum that just have these abilities and just challenging them like they've never been challenged before. We can't do it alone, though. We have to partner with area corporations. We rely on them for financial sponsorships, for in-kind donations. The equipment that we use is very expensive equipment. It's networking equipment, and it's not cheap. And so we have companies who will have given us used equipment. We rely on them for internships and jobs. Some companies, we just went out to AAA of Michigan, or Auto Club Group, a few weeks ago to visit their innovation center. So they allowed us to come over with all of our students, and they got to meet some people in the industry and hear the stories about, what you do in the day of life, with the job in tech. So things like that are very, very helpful. We have people who come out to our facility and they talk to our students. They'll talk about technology. We have HR people who do mock interviews or do lectures on what you put in a resume. And then we have our IT Executive Advisory Board. And the IT Executive Advisory Board was created to not just strategize on ways to get people with disabilities into jobs in technology, but also to educate people who are just not used to working with people with this skill level. And so we've got some of the top executives in IT and cybersecurity who meet on a quarterly basis to talk about these things. We're raising awareness and we're educating them on how to do this. But again, we can't do this without this type of support. It takes a village, and that's what we're trying to do. And we're leading the efforts in that. Mod Market. Mod Market is the program that kind of brings everything we do at Living and Learning all together. It's not just a store where we're able to sell products. It's also a teaching opportunity. We're able to provide jobs for people with disabilities, and we're able to provide training, job skills training, that they can use not just at Mod Market, but then that they can take those skills and use it somewhere else. Skills in not just retail, but customer service and inventory, anything that you do in a retail environment, you can kind of take on to another job. And that's what we're doing at Mod Market. One of the ways that Mod Market is promoting the concept of neurodiversity is with pop-ups, just like the one that's here today. We'll take one of these pop-up booths and we'll take them to some corporations around town. High traffic areas, like Comerica Bank is listed here, and Mercedes-Benz. The day we were at Mercedes-Benz Financial Services, we had two artists there. Nick Bear is actually here today. He did a live drawing, just right on site. He did a live drawing, and so people were able to see the talent that they're capable of, and it was just such a great experience. And then, they were also able to see through the pop-up shop all the products and that we're able to sell at Mod Market. So we're raising awareness not just of the store and what we're selling at the store, but also the capabilities of our population. So again, just constantly just doing our best to just push that envelope. It's just something that we've always done, and I've never experienced culture. I've been in technology sales for 20 years. I've worked for companies large and small. A lot of companies talk about culture, company culture. I've never really experienced true culture until working at Living and Learning and understanding the concept of just doing whatever you can to help others reach their potential. It's unbelievable. I'm going to hand the microphone back to Rochelle, and so we could talk about our growth.
Thank you. So, as I said, I opened in 2015 with one program, and 4 people came to that program. Today, we're working with 9 different counties people are coming from, and 70 different cities they're coming to us. So we really don't have marketing, I mean, it really, this has been word of mouth. It's pretty grassroots. We have 30 programs, as I had said earlier, and we work with everyone now. When I first started, it was we work with people with autism, and then slowly it was we work with people with autism and related challenges, and now we just work with everyone. And as Ethan had said earlier, we are constantly looking for new opportunities. So please, even if it's 2 years from now, my card's in there, just email me. I'm always open to sitting down with someone and learning about something that they're interested in and then creating it. And I think, is that it? We're ready for questions?
Yeah, go to questions. Does anybody have any questions?
Okay, we can take questions, and if you want to raise your hand, I can either walk around with this mic or have you come up here so that people on Zoom can hear your question. But if anybody have questions for our panelists? Yeah. Let's see if I can get this over to you. Yeah, let's try this one. Thank you. We're gonna have to make do.
Hi, my name is Kate Borninski. I'm one of the trustees here in Canton Township, but I have a son who's on the spectrum. He's 28 now, and he is employed, but he's constantly worried about being fired. And so I'm wondering, do you have something that could help him with that? Could he talk to Ethan or?
Yeah, yes, absolutely. In fact, as you were saying that, I was thinking, Ethan, get his number. Yes, absolutely. So when we get done, please introduce yourself to Ethan, and you're in really good hands. Yeah.
My second question is, I know you're a nonprofit and asking for support. I'm also wondering, do you have any programs or opportunities for people that might need some financial assistance?
Yeah, so we do have scholarships available, and if it's a situation, well, the other thing is we really work hard to, depending on what you need, to find ways for it to be assisted. So our vocational program, it's, I want to say 100% paid for. We work with Wayne County and Oakland County to make that happen. Yeah.
Any other questions? Yes.
I'll just come up.
Okay. Thank you.
It would have been fun to watch you try. Okay. All right. Hello, my name is Lisa Boyd. I'm a librarian over there at the Canton Public Library. So my librarian heart withered a little when you were talking about not wanting to be at the library. Have you worked with any libraries in the past who have provided, like, because so I'm neurodiverse as well. My child has autism. Super special to my heart. Like, some of my people, I've had programs with some of our friends right here too. So I'm always like chomping at the bit to get people with disabilities into the library to like show, hey, we are really a population and therapeutic rec is wonderful, but also not everyone can go there. They have waiting lists and stuff. So have you worked with libraries? Because we do programs for free.
Yeah, and I would love to talk to you more about that after. And you know what? Now I feel bad that I said that. But what I was trying to get at, it wasn't like libraries are bad places. It wasn't that. It was I wanted something so special for them. And what I meant was I didn't want to be in the basement somewhere, and it wasn't.
I get
It
you.
wasn't
You didn't
libraries.
Want the second left over.
Exactly.
You want it to be special for you. I get that part of it.
That's
but
what it was.
Also, I'm like, we will do things with you, please.
Well, you know what?
It's a healthy budget.
When we get done with this, we will definitely talk to you about that, because we have a lot of people that want jobs at libraries too.
Yeah, and we have some openings in IT right now. So.
Oh, nice. Thank
And-
you.
Yep.
Any other questions?
What's the cost of the Hopes and Dreams Gala?
It's $200 a ticket. Yeah, yeah. It's our second one.
Rochelle, do you want to talk a little bit about what the gala is for
Yeah,
people that
it's
don't
our
know?
it's our biggest fundraising event, and it's there's a strolling dinner. There's a 50 Amp Fuses there. It's on June 2nd. Last year, I want to say we had close to 450 people. This year, we have enough space now for 700 people. So I would love for you to come, but I know tickets are going to sell quick. In fact, I think there's only like 300 tickets left, so please buy a ticket.
Other questions? Yes, in the back?
I missed the first part. Am I open to? Mentoring other companies to do this? You know what? I'm open to anything. I've had several different people come out from different states, locally. You know, we want to do this. How do you do this? We've gone out to different places and showed them this is how we were able to get the county to partner with us. So absolutely. You know what? And I say this all the time. We have to all work together in order for this to, for us all to rise. So I'm never going to be, nope, this is our little thing, and you know, do this on your own, because so many people helped me. So absolutely.
Rochelle, what is the process if an organization is interested? What should they do? Should they just reach out
Yes.
to you directly?
Email me. That's the best way to get a hold of me. It's not on there? Okay, you know what? When we get done, I brought business cards, so yeah, yeah.
We have a question in the chat. What volunteer opportunities does LLEC have?
Tons of volunteer opportunities, whether it's working at Mod Market, volunteering there, or on our farm, working at the program. So on our website, there, one of the headings says volunteers, and you just click on there, and we have someone that will work right with you. You could also just email directly volunteers@livingandlearningcenter.org, and it's the same method. That same person's going to read everything, and they'll reach out to you. We don't want you just to come and do whatever. We want you to do something that's meaningful to you.
Other comments or questions? Yes, here in the front.
As a business owner and also considering starting a new startup business for this little guy, not little guy, this guy. When you're taking people out into and you're looking for businesses, are you looking for like a place where you have to have 2 to 3 individuals working so that you can, you know, consolidate your staff? Or do they also go out into like a single person out with a coach to help?
I'll let you do that.
Yep, both actually. So our vocational program is group-based, so there's 3 to 4 members that go out to a job site with 1 job coach. That program is a daytime program, and they work at their job sites from 10 to 3. And we also have our job development program, which is for finding employment, and that would entail the process of being hired and then having a one-on-one job coach come support you at your workplace.
Have one business going, sort of, not sure if we've tried it with him, and some part of it works, some of it doesn't. So we're looking at something else, but I want to incorporate more people and be able to eventually hire more of his friends and stuff into it. So I'm just trying to figure out how teaming up could.
Well, you know what else? What Ethan's great at is going to the job site, and you know what? Did you ever think of this? Because there's a lot of times, you know, when you're in it, you're too in it, and you don't see the other possibilities. So he's great at going, well, maybe this would be a great job for them, or and it might be something you haven't thought of yet. So just emailing them.
Different things. So what might work for one person may not work.
Exactly, exactly.
Yes, in the back.
Passion is seniors, okay? So I just wanted to know what kind of seniors you get, how you help them, what we can do.
Oh, okay. So COC, Community Opportunity Center, they've been in business for 50 years now. So how this happened was they must be very happy there because they never left. So it opened 50 years ago, so now they're seniors. The people living there are senior citizens. So it's creating programs for them. But if you have a resource or something that's available for seniors, I would love to talk to you about that and see what else we can create for that population.
Now, are these populations with who are already on spectrum, or they are disabled, and what kind of seniors do you
Yeah, it's people that have a special need of some type.
special need or something?
Yeah,
They will all be on social security, right?
I would say so.
Covered by Medicaid,
Yeah.
Medicare savings program, and so that part is all done. So what you all will do is you all give them vocational training and stuff like that?
That or the social piece where we come up with Like I think we were doing a dance class with them and a writing class, coming up with social programs for them too. So both the vocational piece and the social piece. But it's funny you said that because in my head, when I picture buying those apartments, I picture it being twofold for people that have some type of special need, but then seniors too, because I think that's a win-win. One of our programs that we go to, and it's one of the most popular, is a senior home. And it's great for our senior citizens, and it's great for our people. So what I envision is that we're helping those people. Anyone can live there, so it's inclusive, but it could be people that are senior citizens as well as people that have special needs so that we can, help both.
But if they are seniors with disabilities, are they allowed to work?
Are they allowed to work? So, yeah, they're allowed to work, but I think I know what you're talking about. So, yeah. Yeah.
I think there must be a number of hours they can work, I suppose.
Yes.
Some limited hours, and there is something we can do.
And that's not even just senior citizens. Anyone that's getting a Social Security, that's true for. Exactly. So I really respect what that parent wants, and some parents will say, I'll let them work whatever the hours is so it doesn't touch that. But most of my parents, probably 90% of them, don't want them to get a paycheck because they don't want that interrupted, if that makes sense.
We have another question in the chat. What is Baseline Studio?
Well, that's a great question. Do you want to answer that, what Baseline is?
Sure. Baseline Studio is our art studio. It's right on campus. It used to be the garage of the estate, but it's now an amazing, fully furnished, I guess, art studio. They have, what's it called? Pottery, and what's the machine called? We have, yep, we have a kiln, and it's fully operating. We have Tina's our art director there. She runs classes almost daily, and it's open to the public as well. So there's public classes that are there as well. You can check that out online.
Other questions? Yes, right here in front.
Do you work, one thing that's kind of hard to find and confusing to families and also business owners, is knowing how any salary or wages that they're going to make are going to affect their benefits. Do you work with everybody on that kind of thing too?
Yeah, do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, so like for Social Security and being on disability, that's something that we talk about at the very beginning is if that's something that we want to stay on, then we will have to work a certain amount of hours, or we can't overpass a certain amount of hours because their paychecks have to, be a certain amount of money to still get that Social Security from the state. And then we also work with individuals that do end up receiving full-time benefits as well at full-time jobs. So we can help them get situated with that and learn the processes behind it and everything as well.
Some people worry like if we get them going and and then there's any kind of regression. It wouldn't be, but then they have to get back on. You don't want to like sever that tie, but, because later you might need it again, and it might be very, might be very time consuming to get it back.
Yeah.
And very problematic, not problematic, but intense.
Right, and that's where we work with the families, as Rochelle said, and it's really respecting what they are looking for. So some families don't want to earn that paycheck, and some do, so it's really working with them and figuring out a plan from there.
Do you find that most of your people do some combination of volunteer and pay to keep the Social
Yes.
Security intact?
Yep, we actually have people that are on disability and receive insurance from the state, and they work part-time jobs, employment, so they are earning paychecks, but they're just earning that amount where they can still have their benefits as well.
Beth, you have a question?
Also heard that you have a soap making studio in the Village Arts Factory right here in Canton. Can you tell us a little more about that?
Yeah, Amy, do you want to come up here and talk about that? We do. We have our amazing soap making company now. This is Amy Bonser, and she's the director of Mod Market.
Can I hold this? There we go. Thank you for asking that question. The Uniquely Mod soap products were started after we received a grant from the Giving Hope Women's Giving Circle. It allowed us to, our soap maker who has been selling with us at Mod Market told me she was retiring. And I asked her if she thought soap would be a product our members could learn to make. And so we've been working with her. We started conversation before COVID, so the relationship started a while ago. But on December 2nd, we started selling our soap at Mod Market. And we've sold more than 600 bars of soap at this point, all made by our members with a job coach present. And we've expanded to bath bombs now, and we're looking to add more products. But we are seeking grant money because it was so helpful that through the testing and learning process, we knew we had the financial support to be able to make mistakes to figure out what is really going to work. So stay tuned. We have more coming soon. Thank you.
Is that a place where you can stop by?
That's the goal. So right now, we're subleasing from the person at the Village Arts Factory who has been teaching and training us. We expect that May 1st, we will take over the lease, and we are seeking grant money to help us be able to get the equipment we need to be able to sell product from that site as well. So we appreciate support anytime we can get it. Thank you.
We've got time for one more question. Yes.
Will the PowerPoint be available after?
Yes, we will. We're actually recording all of this. So we get it from Canton Cable. It'll be on Canton Cable as well. But we will send it out to everybody who's in the room here today and everybody who is on Zoom. We'll also send it to the staff at LLEC.
You know, the one other thing I should say real quick is we have a parent support group that meets the first Wednesday of every month, and it's free. Actually, because of a holiday, we didn't have it last Wednesday, so we have it tonight. So what we try to do is be a resource for families where we bring out different guest speakers that speak on different things, whether it's a doctor or a therapist. Tonight, I believe it's just a conversation, you know, just networking and helping each other. What doctor are you seeing? You know, what programs are you going to? And also I'll be telling a little bit about like what my plans are for the future. So anyone's welcome. And it's at 7 o'clock tonight at the main house. But like I said, typically it's the first Wednesday of every month at 7 p.m.
Okay, I want to keep everybody on time, so I want to thank you all for coming. I want to encourage you to stop by the Mod Market on your way out. Pick up a couple of things. It looks like they take credit cards, so they make it very, very easy for you to get some things. I bought a candle myself, so be sure to stop by the Mod Market, and we'll also be hanging out up here if you have extra questions or would like to talk to any of our panelists about anything. But thank you for coming, and hopefully we'll see you next month on May 17th. Thanks.